Hello, welcome to my cake kitchen. I'm back, and if you're meeting me for the first time, over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigating, navigate baking and decorating easily. And today we are back to our decorating basics, where this cake was baked right here on a live, leveled on a live, and then filled and stacked still on a live. So if you're new to cake decorating and you want to learn how to decorate a cake simplistically from start to finish, there's all the resource here for you. This cake was kept refrigerated overnight. It's all set, but as you can see, I have buttercream all coming out on the side. And whilst this may be okay to cover, the buttercream I used here is French buttercream, which is not known to be very stable. At room temperature, if I leave all of this as is and I cover the cake, at room temperature, it will set and begin to bulge and shift and push through the cake. So it's important to kind of clean this out really quickly before I start work on it. And whilst I may not want to trim the cake, unfortunately, I may have to, just so that I can get rid of this. And so it's OTT to kind of get myself a long serrated knife, but what you may probably need is a simple sharp knife to kind of scrape through the surface. I am trimming the cake just so that I can get it fine looking before I cover it. For those of you in the chat, I can see Carabo in the corner of my eye on my screen. Carabo, how are you? I'm not taking too much of this cake because the intention is not to scrape the cake at all. The intention is to kind of trim it so I can level out the surface, which will make the cake even for me to be able to cover without difficulty. That is the primary reason. As you can see already, can you see the difference between when it wasn't? So that the buttercream is all set nicely in between the cake where it should really be. So this is really an important step. Sometimes you will find cake makers will do this. Sometimes they skip it. I will always say there is no right way or wrong way or doing a thing. The most important thing is to understand why you're doing it and how it will add value to your process, or how efficient it will make your process for your best outcome, right? So all I'm doing is, by trimming it, I'm just trimming just little bits. Trimming can be a bit difficult depending on what cake you are using. The good thing is that this is a very moist, tender textured cake that is so easy to trim, but trimming isn't always so easy, so bear that in mind. Let's see. Oh, there's quite a bit of you in the chat. Sorry, I can see Anne, I can see Carabo, I can see Seasonings, all of you. Let me just, I think when I get back to kind of like these serious tutorials, it's hard to keep up. Lollipop let us know in advance she is not around today. So she actually sent me an email just to give me a courtesy head up, which is nice of her. She doesn't have to do that, but yes. So just passing the message to all of you. So if you're in the chat and our resident moderators are not in the chat, I'm sure Carabo and Seasonings will keep you company over there whilst we trim this. And then we'll see, because the intention is just to crumb coat this cake and settle it quickly. So that's all. I'm not trying to take more than I need. And if I could get away with it, I won't trim it at all. But unfortunately, I just want to be able to get an even surface to work with. And trimming will help you do that easily. And as you can see, if you were looking at the cake from the way I was seeing it, there were bits of the cake that were not even, and some were bulging out on the surface, and it's not even. But even with the minimum trim that I have done, you can see some evenness on the cake. So yeah, we're going to kind of do that. And I'm moving to the side just so that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah. There you have it. Yep, there you go. All done. Okay, now that that is done, what are we going to do? I'm going to get a, yep, there you go. Just if you're working with chocolate cake, you want to be extremely careful and just make sure the materials you're using are also slightly warm, because otherwise you're going to have a mess to work with and that will not help at all. So I'm just trying to wipe all of this right back so I have a clean cake to work with. And now suddenly the cake looks a lot more even, but I have myself some crumbs to clear. So let's move the cake out of the surface, and then I'll move this out of the way, and we're going to clear this mess. The easiest way I can do this is just invite my scraper here, and then this whole lot is moved into a bowl. And that is done. I'm gonna wipe my work surface again. Yep. And there you have it, right? Okay, so we have our turntable non-slip mat, and that's our cake. Now, can you see the difference between when it was not trimmed and now that it is trimmed? Well, whilst we're doing it, Season says, Seasons is asking, will you eat the crumbs? No, I will chuck them. For the amount of cake I make, sometimes it's like, why will I keep this? But then again, if I really was doing different things, I might want to save this for a project or something. Now, the most important part, this cake is going to be finished as a completely white colored cake. But for the base crumb coat, I'm going to be using ganache over here. The ganache I have here is slightly split. I only decided to use it just because I'm running a test on how to use split ganache. It doesn't look like it's split at all, but just for your information, it is split. So there you have it. And what I am going to do is run it all here. I'm crumb coating, right? So if you're new to cake decorating and you don't know what a crumb coat is, a crumb coat is just a simple task of adding a little bit or applying some buttercream or ganache to the surface of the cake in the hope of sealing in the crumbs. That's all. So I don't need to do so much. All I'm doing is adding enough so that by the time the cake comes to chill, the crumbs are all sealed, so that the final coat or covering of the cake will be clean of crumbs. Okay, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So crumb coating. In previous videos, I have covered how to cover a cake. I'm just hoping that if you're new here, this is like extra information for you. And so if this is your first time on the channel, I hope you find this video useful. So here we are. You want to make sure that much of the cake surface is filled too. So as you can see, the crumbs have come through on the cake. And if you were wanting to have a polished cake, this is barely a polished looking cake. But covering a cake is in stages. So this is basically, call it a primer. If you were a painter, especially on a building project, this will be priming your surface. Now that's done, I'm going to give it a slow scrape just to clean it off. And at this stage, the scraper I am using is dipped in warm water. Okay. Okay. I did say the ganache is split, but I can't seem to see the result at all. As in, yeah, you can. If you look round, it, you can see small bits, and it's not fine. I mean, split ganache for crumb coating is not a big deal. I just wanted to kind of mention it simply because it's a thing, working with ganache, and sometimes the difficulties you can have with ganache. That's a subject I will cover in later videos, so just bear with me, okay? Right, now let's go in here and tidy the bottom of this all up. And at this stage, fairly, a crumb coat like this is enough. Let's just give this a while. Okay, so let's see. Let's have a look here. Right, so our crumb coat, I would say, is done. A polite reminder that if you have found some value so far from the bake to the finish of the cake, please do consider liking the video. One way you can support us is to consider subscribing. But I'll say, don't just subscribe because I asked you to. Subscribe because you feel you have some value to gain from here, whether it's through the cake decorating processes or whether it's through the interactions we have here and the fun moments. Just make a decision, because we are not greatly monetized at this point. We are monetized to a very small penny extent. If I could have my way, hear my heart when I tell you, if I could have my way, I would want this to be everlasting and almost like no cost to you. But as things are moving on and my life is changing, that is almost becoming a difficulty. But to the best of my ability, I'll try to maintain the resourcefulness and the value proposition for these tutorials. So when I ask you to support the channel by subscribing, it is no cost to you, and it is one way for you to continue to maintain some support here so that I can continue to provide you as much value as I can. I can see in the chat, Lasso Kid gave us 99 pence or a cent. I don't know what that is in dollars. Look, whatever, even if it's a penny, we are so grateful to have it. Thank you though, Lasso Kid. So for those of you in the chat, give it up for Lasso Kid. Send Lasso Kid some hearts out. Lasso Kid, thank you, thank you, thank you. There are a few of you. Good Vibes is back. Good Vibes, hi darling, how are you? Yeah, there's quite a few. There's Anne Sikanda. Anne, thank you for being here. There's been Karabo and Seasonings holding the chat whilst I've been busy with the cakes. Lasso Kid, great to have you back nonetheless. Yeah, the villagers, Moonchild, split ganache. Yeah, it's split. Moonchild, what do you want to know about split ganache? Last of it says, give me all the pennies and I'll take all. That's okay. Good vibes. Good vibes is back with us. So all 27 of you, please do consider, if you haven't liked the video yet, especially if you find some value here, do like the video just to continue to support what we are doing. And if you have some more cake questions, I'll be happy to take them, because oh, what is split ganache? Okay, ganache is just what I'm using. Ganache, this is white chocolate mixed with some cream, a touch of salt, and corn syrup, right? That's what you have. Now, sometimes when you mix it and you warm it up, if you're not careful, the consistency can break a little bit, which means when you use it on the cake, it doesn't guarantee a very clean and polished look. That is what I mean by think about when you warm your milk and your milk is sort of going off. Not that this is going off, but it's the consistency. And it's beginning to look like it's broken and it's looking curdled. That's what split ganache looks like. But it's not because it's gone off. It's because the emulsion has broken and can't hold together. So the butter and the oils and the solid fats are kind of separating. And when that happens, it can be awfully, awfully difficult to kind of get a very clean, polished look to the cake. Good Vibes, our in-house moderator, decided to give us $10 in the chat. Good Vibes, I didn't know you were that rich. No kidding. Good Vibes, thank you so very much for the donation. If you're in the chat, give it up for Good Vibes. I think we should find a way, because you know what, when people donate to the channel, I don't have a specific system, but I say, you know, to kind of make it donate. It's just makes me feel a certain way. But then when people donate, I just don't know how to express my appreciation so that it's special for you. But hear my heart when I say thank you so very much. Lasso Kid and Good Vibes, sincerely appreciate the support and donation in the chat over there, right? So as it is, we have, if you are new to cake decorating, this is a great resource for you over here, you know, for you to take it from bake the cake, fill and crumb coat it. And because the cake was left to chill, I can almost tell the ganache is beginning to set, which is why I'm touching the ganache with my bare hands. And you can't feel finger marks because it is set solid over here, right? And that is the thing with ganache. Ganache is so amazing, people. I'm going to make a whole new video in the coming weeks covering all things ganache for you to get the best out of. If you haven't used ganache, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I also know that ganache is not always accessible for people, so it's fine. But here we are, we're getting to the end of covering this cake, because what we'll need to do is leave this to set completely, sort out another batch of ganache white colored, and then come and cover this nicely. The funny thing is that we are going to have to split this cake. One second. The funny thing is we're going to have to split this cake into two on one board. So it's the kind of cake where you cut the cake into two, and it's like two halves that are decorated separately as two different cakes, but of the same cake that are halved. That is the idea. Now, I think, looking at the scraps that I said I'm not going to eat, of course I'm not going to eat them, but I wonder if I could do something with them. I mean, as a cake maker, you can always do something with your cake, right? What should I do with this? Don't give me any ideas. We could make a, what? We could make a chicken wing with that, isn't it? Don't give me any ideas. Let's see. If you leave it and it chills, and yeah, you can make a chicken wing. What am I doing with a chicken wing though? It's so random. Anyway, that is my hoarding tendencies come into play. Let's not do that. Glad. Wash your hands and leave that alone. Carabo says I can make, you know what? Am I the only baker who hates cake pops? They are so fiddly. They are so fiddly to make, and they are so time consuming, and yet people don't realize how much time they consume to make. So when you quote for them, people are almost like, why is it expensive? But they are expensive, you know. I'm just trying to log into the chat. People, sorry, I'm just trying to get the chat. So okay, yeah. Okay, so Lasso Kid is asking, do you cover the inner, one second, with ganache too? Yes, when I split it into two and I have to decorate it, I have to then cover the inner sides too, so that they are two separate cakes. So yes, seasonings. Don't encourage her. Nothing against cake pops, but they're just fiddly to do. As a cake maker, I don't like to make them, and I don't even like to quote for them at all. Not because people just think they are just small things, and by the time you roll them, no. I don't have the patience of a saint to do that, so not at all. No. Carabo says, yeah, I also hate them. Sometimes you make them and they crack. Tell me about it. But you know what? If you have cakes to discard, and I mean, I wanted to make some for my sons, like bunch of friends. I'm not against doing that, because then I'll be undertaking that on my own will and account. But I don't like making them at all. Like when I see people who kind of specialize in making them, I'm like, that's the stuff of gods, because no, there's no way I am spending my time doing that. It hurts my head already, even thinking about them. And they're so fiddly. It's like, no, it's just not worth it in terms of timing for me. So yeah, I'm not going to do anything with it, because I thought, oh, can I trim the top? But I'm not. I'm going to leave this to set completely. And then when we fix the ganache or sort the ganache, that will be the next batch for how am I going to decorate the cake? Well, I will probably be undertaking the decoration of this cake right on here. So if you're still around, you can see eventually what it looks like. It's going to have some polystyrene balls. It will have like personalized elements. It's the same cake, singular theme, but different colors of the same theme. It's a bike, as in a 10 and an 11-year-old. They love bikes. So yeah, it's just going to be set like that, and then we'll put it together. So that is what it is going to be. So I will be decorating it here. We'll finish the decoration up all the way tomorrow, because I still have the cake board, which I have over here to cover, and then we will split the cake up. We'll cover this in fondant. So I'm going to move the cake out of the workspace. We'll leave it here. The thing with ganache is ganache can stay at room temperature, but I'm not going to leave it at room temperature. It is going to go into the fridge so that it sets whilst I clear up and prep for a set of a batch of ganache. And then tomorrow we'll get the white ganache done, and then we'll be finishing the decorating of this cake, because then I have some decorative elements I ordered that should be on their way from Amazon. So when they come in, I'll be able to put all of that together, and then tomorrow we can decorate the cake. I should have been here a little earlier, but as always, life happens, and I was like, okay, let me just go and do live, and then I'll come back. But it is still great to have you nonetheless. For those of you who are still like mulling through your day, how is your day going, and what's up with all of you? Are you okay? I'm okay. Okay, it's anytime I show up here, it's great. It's great. So I hope you're all having a good Seasons. How is your day? What have you been cooking? I know you love to cook. What have you been cooking? Lasso Kid, how is uni work coming along? No, it's Lord Ron. It's Lord Ron who has uni work. Am I confusing you two? Because Lord Ron was here 2 days ago. Lasso Kid is doing art. Yeah, you did say you were going to start the art. Did you say you were going to make it into a channel, or was I wrong about that? Uni work. Okay, so Lasso Kid and Lord Ron are both in uni, except Lasso Kid is done with uni work. Yeah, I thought I knew you were doing uni work, but it's done now. Great. Karabo says, I'm just baking. Oh, okay. I take it, Karabo, that cake is for the weekend, is it? Is that a cake for the weekend? Well, Karabo, how long have you been baking? And just for you, what has been your singular most exciting experience as a baker? And what has been the worst of a kind that when you think about it, you like the moment in your baking career that made you feel like you wanted to lob the whole thing away and not even look at a cake again? I just want to know. Yeah, the cake is for, so Karabo is baking for Sunday, right? And the question is, what is the most exciting experience as a baker that you have that you've had that continues to kind of inspire your journey as a baker? And what is the one experience that has made you want to literally think, oh, I want to quit this whole thing all the way already? Season says in the chat, I'm thinking of cooking chicken and making chicken and dumplings. Can you serve me a plate, honey? Okay, just be kind enough to serve a sister a plate. That's all. Okay. That is if you decide. Whatever you decide to cook, I know it's going to be good nonetheless. So just serve a sister a plate. I'm still waiting for Karabo's experience over there. And the chicken and dumplings, are you going to film that? Let's have a look here. The big and mini producer are out today, so I have a bit of time. But as soon as I'm done here, Karabo says, let's see. It's the learning new things in the baking industry. Like now, I'm baking. Let's see. Why is this here? I need this gone. Why is it? 1 second. I have an icon on top of part of your, okay, right. Tatiana is here. Yay! Tatiana, are you at work? Is this your break time? Hi, honey. How are you? Right. Karabo says it's learning the new thing. So that, I take it, this is the challenge. Is the new things, is that challenging or exciting? Is that the exciting part? It's learning the new things in the baking, and I'm looking into baking, making cake toppers. Okay, you're looking into baking cake toppers. What do you mean? Are you looking to make like the machine cut cake toppers with cricker, or the sort of card stock sort of toppers, or modeling cake toppers? Which ones? Both. Okay, that's exciting. How long have you been a baker? How long? Like even from, say, when you decided to kind of make it official, whatever that looks like how long has this been for you? Tatiana, how is work? Because it's 7, 7:15, so it's somewhere around midday or a little after, wherever you are, I believe. Yep, I know you're at work. I'm all right. I have an important meeting in a bit and a little nervous, but I know God will give me the words. And the worst that can happen is me getting a no. Well, let's take it from there, Tatiana. You know, a no is not always a refusal, okay? It is always a reset for the journey ahead and for better things to come. Because even in the worst case of a no, you have the experience of the first try. Because before you walk in, you would never have known what the room feels like. You would never have known what the faces look like. So let's focus on the good parts. whilst I hope you don't get a no, okay, obviously, I am hoping it is a yes and you will kick and scream and go yay. But we're just trying to kind of like work out the mindset. So if it's a no, here are the positives of the no. You get the first-hand experience that the second time, hopefully you've built like the knowledge of what to expect, and it's a better outcome. And in the grand scheme of things, sometimes the no is just to reset you for better things along. You will not know yet until it happens, and then you look back at it. But that is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that it's more likely you will also get a yes. But before we do all of that, we hope with faith, as you've said, the Lord will lead you and kind of make a way for you. So close your eyes, say a quiet prayer, smile in your heart, and trust God in the process. That's all, sis. Hugs to you, and I hope this goes well. Okay? Winora Spitz says, oh, good advice. You're welcome, Winora. You know, Tatiana is our sister here, and we love her, and we want her to win, you know. But sometimes all you can do is just try and hold the sister's hand and give her a virtual hug. So people, send Tatiana some hugs, and lovely, all the best, you know. Sometimes the nerves is an indication that this is an important thing for you, and you can't talk that away. But even Moses was nervous. He's like, I'm a starter, Lord. Why are you even sending me over? Can you imagine? Tatiana, this is for you. Can you imagine Moses in front of Pharaoh? This is not making a mockery of you starters, but it is just to encourage a sister also, because Moses said he was a starter, and he still had to go see Pharaoh. So, okay, so that. That's okay. Lord, let me hear. Lord, let me hear. Yeah. Can you imagine how crazy Moses would have been looking, and his brother Aaron would be like, "See, bruh, you brought us here. And Moses will be digging his rod like, shut up." I don't know why I'm acting this in my head, but. Yeah, you know, it is neat. That is just to say God has you, because Moses did it scared, and you don't even have a starter. Okay, so you'll be good, my dear. Don't worry. Carago was saying, Carago is saying she's been baking since she's been young in primary school. Mom used to bake rust. Oh, okay. And fat cakes. And I used to help, and I started baking for business when I was in high school. I then went to pastry school. Girl, I don't know what you are doing over here if you've been to pastry school. Okay? I don't know what you're doing here, unless you were here to kind of teach us something. We are above your pay grade. You were so humble, though. That's okay. Well, so I guess the subject of cakes are not new to you, especially if you've been, I think you and Tapeta might just be in the same, might be the same people. You and Tapeta, because Tapeta has been baking since she was a baby too. So with all that experience, here's a question for you. What have you found so challenging, like in the cake decorating process, even with all the experience and knowledge you have? What have you found so challenging that you feel like pastry school hasn't taught you or didn't teach you, and you are still trying to kind of resolve through the decorating process? Karabo says we learn every day. Well, good luck, lovely. Sending you hugs, Tatiana, and all the best with that. Come back and tell us all about it. May the Lord be with you on this one. Okay? Take care, my dear. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Right. Karabo says, we learn every day and I can learn from everyone. That's okay, dear. That's okay. Tatiana has to go, so let's all cheer Tatiana on. Tatiana, you have a whole virtual crowd here cheering you on, so just walk in with a smile and all the confidence you have, and the Lord will make a way. All right, good luck. Ariel said, hello beautiful, what are you baking today? Ariel, darling, I am not baking anything today. Today I came to show you how to crumb coat a cake that was baked right here with everything else you need. We baked it here, we leveled it, we filled and stacked, we did all of that over here. So if you want to see the backstory of how this cake started, it's all up on a live as a learning resource and a tutorial for you. Good vibes, you haven't missed anything. Tatiana has a meeting to attend. It's very important, and she was just feeling slightly nervous, but we encouraged her spirit and we sent her off her way. So you haven't missed anything at all, right? Lasso Kid said, you would think that inspiration for decorating would be the hardest for me. But it is thinking of how to create my creation. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes thinking through the process can be harder because you can't seem to take it from the concept to an end product. And if you are a passionate artist, you can be stuck in that loop. So yes, sometimes seeking inspiration can be hard because it can be hard to nail down a concept. But yes, sometimes thinking of how to create the thing is the hardest part. I see exactly what you mean. I mean, I have a cake to go out next week, and that cake took me over 3 weeks to kind of even conceptualize to an end product. And I was stuck in that loop where I was like, I nearly came to a point of declining it because it was a custom cake. It is supposed to be a Roman themed cake, a Roman. Like, I'm like, Roman, like I can't even in my head think about a Roman cake, like where, you know, and I still, like, I spent 3 weeks, like literally in my feeling anxious about it until I just went, you know what, let me just try and put a concept together. And once I got it out of my head, I was able to, it all didn't happen in a day. I put the whole like mixed concept out in written form, and then it took me another week to kind of unpick it, you know, and then kind of set up the whole thing before I realized, okay, this is doable, before I even responded to the client. So Lasso Kid, you're not alone. Here's a tip for you though. When that happens, when you kind of find yourself stuck in thinking about it, just put your thoughts on paper. Just kind of spit it all out. You will begin to see it come together anyway. At least that's what I do. Okay. Karabo said, for me in South Africa, I don't know in other countries. I asked Karabo, as someone who's been to pastry school and has baked all her life, even at a young stage, what is the most challenging part of cake decorating that she feels that even with her experience, she still struggles with? And this is her answer. She's in South Africa, by the way. So she says, I feel I did not learn how much. Okay, so let's take it again. For me in South Africa, I don't know in other countries. I feel that I did not learn that much. Is it in pastry school? Like most of the things I know now, I learned them on my way. I feel like pastry school in South Africa, I will not recommend going to pastry school. Oh, that's actually insightful. Wow, thanks for sharing that. I wouldn't have known that nonetheless, because I don't know exactly what the course work and what pastry school looks like in South Africa. So there you go. Karabo went to pastry school, and now she feels like pastry school in South Africa hasn't taught her as much as she needs or needed to know in cake decorating, and that she feels like her cake decorating career and what she knows in terms of the experience has come from post-school era and things she has had to learn on her own. So she wouldn't be recommending pastry school in South Africa to anyone. And that's quite insightful and something new to know, because I wouldn't have thought that at all. There's Ronald in the chat. Ronald McCall, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. There's Vicky. Vicky, whatever you've typed in the chat, we don't know. We can't say. Okay.
Maria, let me put your food down. Warm up. Hello.
Hiya. Vicky, whatever you've typed in there, we can't read that at all. So I am so sorry if I am not able to say anything about it or respond to you. But if you'd like to write that in a form or language I can understand, I'll be able to read that out. Yes. So Karabo, I mean, kudos to yourself, because if you're still able to run your business successfully, albeit the lack of all the experience and knowledge from pastry school, kudos to you, because it means you have kind of gone out of your way to try and establish yourself by learning the skills that you really need. So that must be some credit to yourself and your willingness to learn. So, okay, Vicky is typing in Hindi. Unfortunately, I cannot read Hindi. So I'm going to have to leave that there, Vicky. But yes, Karabo, thanks for sharing your story with us on your experience with pastry school. I did consider, like on top of my head, to want to go to pastry school sometime in the UK. But I don't know why, but I did think that it will only refine my skills in some aspects of what it would be, and not in every aspect. Because even if you do go to pastry school, running a business is going to be completely different from your experience as a baker. So from that point of view, I just thought, yeah, and I never prioritized it enough to pursue it. But hey, here we are. So I hope these simple tutorials over here are still of some value to you nonetheless. And it's always, always, always a pleasure to have you. Good vibes. What are you up to today? Let's have a look. The cake has set though. Yeah, Ronald said hi. And I said, welcome to the stream. Right. What have we got? Good vibes. Good vibes. You have no chill over there. What did our friends say in Hindi that made you tell them to be kind? Because I can't read Hindi, so I don't know what they were saying over there. But you know what, people? If we don't have any further cake questions, right? Let's be done with the stream today, because I wanted to show you how to cover this. And the next stage of that decorating process will be coming to cover the cake back in the color and get it all decorated. That will probably be sometime tomorrow, just about the same time. Right now, we still need to go and optimize the chat and all the details that I have kind of not done. And if you haven't noticed, our shorts for the week have been missing because I haven't managed to put the shorts videos up. There's a lot to do, people. But as always, I'm always grateful to have you here, okay, and all your support. So go and continue with your day, whatever you're doing. I hope your day is better and continue to feel great. Have a lovely day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever, wherever you are. And yeah, I will see you soon. Seasons, Lasso Kid, good vibes, and all of you who joined us today. Thank you for stopping by. Happy baking, and I'll see you soon. Last okay, 4:30 a.m. Jeez. Go and sleep. Come on. Good night. Bye.